Oh, helps if I watch my own channel. And there we go. Good evening, everybody. My name is Osa, and we are playing a little bit of Farm Sim 19. Why am I looking at a wall? Who knows? Mercury Farms. Let's start the engine and get rolling. There we go. And we're going out in the favorite. Since it's decided to rain today. I think it's still the rain from last week, so okay. We've got crops to do things with. Oh. So we might as well get to something. And we're starting a little bit late today because the kids were misbehaving. And the stream doesn't need a bunch of annoyed adults, so we kind of held off until the kids actually finally went to bed. After being told to go to bed and be quiet, go to sleep for a while. So let's pull this up. No, that's wrong. Potato technology is potatoes. Yeah, I want that one. We will buy that and capitalize on the mistake we made last time we started this farm. Tiny tractor and top the potato things. Why doesn't that want to work? Really? Do I have a weight on the front? Why that done? Nope. Come on, that's lined up fine. So supposed to link on the other side. Okay. Twitch notification, I have gone live. Yay me. There we go. Figured it out. Let's jump back in the cab so we can actually see where we're going from ground level. Oh, that pillar's a bit awkward. I still do like this tractor. Apparently there's a Favorite 600 mod available. Do I turn in here? Yeah, that looks like a good place to turn. Okay, and we want field 9. Ooh, did we, it's a thing I forgot to check when I got on today. Yes, we did the herbicide thing on all of our fields, except the two we can't because they're ready to harvest. So that's a good thing. I will get out and position the camera to follow. We're going to need to use the big fent for the harvest when we get round to that bit. But first things first, we've got to take the tops off, which makes the potatoes safe from wheels. For the rest of our crops, they all seem to be growing quite nicely, which will be more income later. But once again, these are non-standard farm silos, which we're going to take advantage of. The advantage with these ones is they also do potatoes and beets, which the old stream farm silos didn't do. So we're going to be able to harvest these potatoes. I'm going to throw them straight into the silo and keep them. We're not going to bother with selling any of them until we have at least one field planted. And once the field's planted, we can sell the rest of the potatoes. Okay, good evening, long hauler. How you doing? Rocking the St. Louis. Oh yeah. Yes. St. Louis is a nice little ship. It's for a cruiser, very well armoured. Although it's not really got armour on it. What it's got is coal bunkers along the side of the ship, which serve as basically armour. It looks like I am killing some of these potatoes, which is a bit of a pity, but oh well. We'll do what we can with them. Yeah, after the St. Louis you get into... what is it? It's the Phoenix and the Omaha, which are classed as scout cruisers, and they're the only American cruisers that come with torpedoes. Not particularly long range. For the most part, I'd say forget they're there, because there are way too many people who play those two ships and 20 kilometers behind the front lines and decide, hey, I'm going to shoot torpedoes at that bad guy. And the only person who's in danger of getting hit by you is the destroyer that's been between you and the bad guy. And that's usually me. But once you pass the Phoenix and the Omaha... But the other thing is with those, don't forget you've got the torpedoes, because if the worst comes to the worst and you suddenly get surprised by someone at 3 kilometers away... torpedoes can do a lot of damage. Just make sure you can hit with them. after the Phoenix and the Omaha, you get the cruiser line split, and you can either go with the Dallas, which is a 10-gun light cruiser, or the Pensacola, which is a 10-gun heavy cruiser. Both of them have really bad armour schemes. But the Pensacola has incredible guns. They're 8-inch with super heavy shells, which gives them a better than at normal normalization on angled shots. So if someone's at an angle, you can actually stay with the AP for a lot longer on an American heavy cruiser than you can on every other heavy cruiser. I do like my American heavy cruisers, especially the Indianapolis, which is a premium heavy cruiser. But St. Louis, if you're not the sort of person to keep your ships, the St. Louis is actually one to keep, because you can go back and have a lot of fun in that. I think I'm probably supposed to be going up and down the field rather than from side to side here. That wall fence might come down. So I seem to be able to hit 5 rows this way, but hitting 5 rows across the field seems to be a little bit challenging. The time to buy premium is Christmas, because you can usually get premium time for half price, effectively a whole year, for about $50 instead of a whole year for $100. Or even shorter periods. I think you can get 30 days for half price as well, for whatever that works out at. I mean, I kind of justify it as that's my Christmas game. I'm allowed to spend a certain amount of money every month, which I can either save until I get to 500, or I can spend some, save some, but it's money that is mine to do with as I want to. My wife gets a similar amount. She does crafting, so if she wants to buy yarn or stuff like that, she has her own budget where we don't have to worry about, oh, we're spending food money or we're spending gas money or whatever. So that works out quite nicely. Over Christmas I tend to reserve it for computer games, so things like Farm Sim and expansions, stuff like that, and World of Warships Santa Crates, World of Warships Premium Time, and then outside of that it's as and when I feel like it. So I might look at something and say, well, yeah, I wouldn't mind buying that. It's $30, and I might treat myself to a premium ship. But that's rare. Most of my premium ships are actually free presents, earned through missions or as wargaming jokes for World of Tanks, the free port slot, where you know, at Christmas they give you a free tier 2 destroyer that really sucks, and with it comes a port slot. And what a lot of people will do is they'll sell their really crap premium destroyer, keep the port slot because it's free. They can put an extra ship in it. But outside of that, I've got other hobbies as well. So occasionally it's a case of, I need to buy this stuff because it's come out this month. So I don't have any money to spend on computer games. And that's kind of how we do money. So, and obviously with the foster kids in the house now, we're going to be spreading our allowance a little bit further so that we can say, we can buy something for the kids each month up to a certain amount. Then on birthdays we say, there's a little bit extra for the child with the birthday. Oh no, okay, fine. So I'm just getting grips with where I was last week. So last week we woke up in the morning and discovered that 2 of our fields were ready to harvest. All of our fields were covered in weeds, which gives us the problem of, we can't actually take the weeds off the 2 fields which are ready to harvest, so we're automatically suffering a 15% degradation on crop yield on these 2 fields. I think they're both also not ploughed, so that's 30% reduction in yield. But at least we had 2 stages of fertilisation. I really can't remember. So it needs lime. No, it's got weeds. Oh, this one's the only one that needed ploughed. And they're both fully fertilised, so it's not a dreadful thing. Now I'm hoping with seasons they make it so that if you spread the field with herbicide, the weeds won't grow at all until the following year. Either way, but because the growth cycle is that much slowed, I should not end up in situations where, you've got to weed, the weeds broke and so did the field ready to harvest, and so you lose. Now, what's the... remember what the tier 2 is called. Clemson's not bad, that's the tier 4, and it has 2 racks on each side. The Nicholas with tier 5 gets the 127mm destroyer guns, which you might as well practice using, because if you carry on leveling up your American destroyers, you keep those guns until tier 10. They might fire faster, the mounts might turn faster, you might get more or less guns, but they're exactly the same ballistic capabilities and exactly the same damage all the way through to tier 10. Even the premium destroyer guns are the same as on the Nicholas. The Nicholas does not have good torpedoes though. I mean that's an issue with a lot of the American destroyers up until sort of tier 7, 8, 9, 10. Your torpedoes are short range. Your loudness is longer than your torpedo range. So you can, the only way you can stealth torp someone is to use land masses. Now that can work quite effectively, and is probably something to be recommended practicing. You approach a target from behind an island. Let the rest of your team spot that target, and then maneuver so that your target never sees you, and the first thing he knows about you being there is the 10 torpedoes or 8 torpedoes coming around the corner of the island that he wasn't expecting. And that I've employed in many situations quite successfully. I mean, the other option in those positions is to run out from behind the island and launch torpedoes at absolute point-blank range. However, you've got to time that coming around the island perfectly, because if you come around the island and his guns are loaded and they're pointing in your general direction, you are going to eat the entire load. And at 2 kilometers range, he's not going to miss with many of them. You might get lucky and he might not be looking at you. And if he's a battleship, he'll probably never get his guns pointing at you. But the absolute best thing to do is to sort of feather the throttle a bit and wait until you see the gun flash. And as soon as the guns have been fired, if it's a battleship, you've got about 25 seconds to run out in front of him, line up the torpedo tubes and let rip. And then at that point, I would generally recommend getting as close as you can and running circles around him, because battleship guns take 30 seconds to turn around, sometimes longer, and you don't. Oh, I messed that up. Now, Japanese destroyers, it's pretty much from tier 4 upwards. Your torpedoes have a longer range than your visibility, so nobody can see you coming if you don't want them to. However, it's good to learn what the visibility level of other destroyers at your tier are. Because there are times when, you know, enemy destroyers they may be not quite as stealthy as you, but they're only not quite as stealthy as you by 100 meters. So you spot them and they're pretty much going to be spotting you within 2 seconds. Which means pretty much not stealthy, or no stealth advantage. And if you're not shooting anything and you're in a destroyer, then you need to look at the enemy team and determine who's got the who's got the better stealth than you have, and figure out by how much. because you can use that knowledge to say, okay, he's 300 meters better view range or better visibility than me, so I have to burn a speed boost and charge straight in the direction of where I was going, and with any luck he won't be able to do anything before you blast into his view range. Okay, we have topped the potatoes. We'll go back to the store with this one and go and get the next piece of equipment. Probably turn the lights on. It's miserable today. So yeah, so far today it's been raining all morning. It's only, it's coming up for 10 o'clock, so that's a thing. Now we're going to need to borrow some money at this point. I kind of always look at selling stuff. Okay, we'll come about here, and that's not what I want to do. Money, money, money. Okay. We borrowed 150,000, and now we can do this. Potato technology, that one there. We buy that there. And there it is. Big giant potato harvester. While this piece of equipment isn't a sort of thing that this tractor's designed to operate, we can haul it in unpowered situations. Oh, and the nice thing about potatoes now, because we've topped the field, we can actually unload this thing no matter which way up or down the field it's going. There's no risk driving on the crops because we took the tops off. Ooh, hello plane. I'm going to take this round here. Looks like the trailer's pointed the other way. Ah.